In this video, we will go over the new tools in Brightspace for fall 2021. We will cover the new assignment creation experience, the new assignment evaluation experience, the new Brightspace editor, the new accommodations tool, Ally, the new accessibility tool, and finally, the student work to do widget. First, we have the new assignment creation experience. This version has been available for several months, so you may already be familiar with it. But if you haven't used it yet, it will be the only option available by the end of the year. To experience the new assignment creation experience, from the assignment tool, when you click New Assignment, you will either see this version here, which is the old assignment creation experience, or you will see the new assignment creation experience. First, I'll walk through the old version so that when I show you the new version, you'll understand where all of your tools are. In the old version, everything is based off of these tabs. So on the Properties tab is where we add the name of the assignment, any instructions for the assignment. We can add attachments or video or audio notes. We determine what kind of assignment it is. We determine how many files are allowed per submission and how many submissions are allowed. And we can add a score and a grade item and a rubric. Then to add date restrictions, we would use the Restrictions tab and determine when it's available, the start and due date, and other conditions. And finally, if we need to enable Turnitin, we would do that on the Turnitin tab. With the new assignment creation experience, we can switch to the new version, clicking on the drop-down arrow in the top right corner and selecting Turn It On. This will turn on the new assignment creation experience, which is a lot more streamlined and easier to use than the original version. Here, you name your assignment. And the biggest difference is now you can select it to be a graded assignment. And when you do that, it will automatically create a grade item with the same name and point value as you indicate here. This is a huge change from the original assignment creation experience. Instead of having to create a grade item with the same name and same point value, this will create that for you automatically. You do have the option to not connect it to the gradebook or to choose from a grade item that already exists, or we can remove it completely as being a graded assignment. Next to that is where you would add your due date. Below that are any instructions that you have for the assignment. And beneath that is the ability to add links, documents, files, or record an audio or video note. On the right-hand side is where you would set your availability and other settings for the assignment. Under availability dates and conditions is where you set a start and end date and any release conditions or special access. Under submission and completion is where you would choose the assignment type, whether it's individual or group, the submission type, how many files are allowed per submission, how many submissions are allowed, and other settings. And under evaluation and feedback is where you would add a rubric if you are using one, or enabling Turnitin. At the bottom of the screen is where you can control visibility, which is whether or not a student can see this, despite the start and end dates that you might set on the assignment. When you are done, click Save and Close. The new assignment creation experience is a lot more streamlined and easier to use than the older assignment creation experience. As a reminder, this will get turned on by default at the end of the year. So until then, if you find that you don't like the new assignment creation experience, you can click on the drop-down arrow in the top right corner and choose to turn it off. Click Done, and it'll revert back to the old assignment creation experience. Next, we have the new assignment evaluation experience. This experience gets turned on by default at the end of the month. You will not be able to revert back to the old experience after that time. These experiences are very similar to each other. In the old experience, it looked like this option that you see here on the left, and the new experience looks like this option that you see on the right. The only difference is that they've condensed the information on the right-hand side, and that you can, if you are using a rubric, you can grade it right on the screen. It'll expand into an accordion menu, or you can use this little icon in the top right corner to pop out your rubric. You still have the ability to add an overall score, an overall feedback, and any audio or video notes before publishing. Next, we have the new Brightspace HTML editor. There are a few differences that I want to highlight. On the left, we have the original HTML editor, the one that we've been using up until this point. On the right, we have the new Brightspace editor that's replacing the one on the left. On the left, we used to have insert stuff, insert images, and insert quick links all on the top left corner of the editor. And then next to that is where you had your formatting tools. At the bottom right-hand corner is where you had the ability to expand, to preview, to use the HTML editing tool, and to check accessibility and spelling. On the right, things have just moved around a little bit, but you still have all of the same tools. So now insert stuff, images, and quick links have moved to the middle. And on the left of your screen, you have your word formatting tools. In addition, all of the tools that you had on the left are now embedded in the menus. So you have the expand icon, you have your HTML icon, you have your preview icon, and you have your accessibility checker. This next screen will walk you through some of the highlights of each of the menu items. You can see all of your heading options, all of your formatting options, and additional tools that we didn't have before, such as a word count, as well as the ability to @mention people. What @mention is in the discussions, you can now students in your class by using the @key on your keyboard, and you can highlight or call attention to a student and notify them of the conversation. For example, in the discussion tool, if I'm responding to a discussion, perhaps I want to reply to one of my students and say, "Great job at Alyssa student." When I click @ it then pulls up a list of all the students in my class or that I have access to, and I can tag those students so that they get a notification that they've been added or mentioned in a discussion post. When I click post, that student will then get a notification that they have been mentioned in a discussion post. If I switch to the student view and show you these notifications, it'll say, "Ms. Tobin mentioned me in the thread, my introduction." So you can see how the @ has highlighted that I've been addressed inside of the discussion. Next, we have the new accommodation tool, which allows you to set course-wide quiz accommodations for a particular student. You can now set quiz time accommodations for students at the course level instead of having to edit each individual quiz. Once you set this up for a student via the class list, their additional time accommodation will automatically be applied to every quiz they take in class. The way you do this is from the class list. You then locate the student who needs their accommodation set, click on the drop-down next to their name, click Edit Accommodations, and a pop-up will appear that allows you to set a modified time. In this case, I've checked off Modify Time Limit, and I've added the multiplier 1.5 times because this student gets 50% extra time. Once I click Save, that'll save those settings for that student for this course on any quiz that they take. This can save you a lot of time, especially if you use a lot of quizzes in your class, as you won't have to edit each individual quiz anymore. Next, we have the Ally Accessibility tool in Brightspace. Ally has been turned on in all of our classes, and it allows students to download files in different formats, and it allows you as an instructor to see how accessible your content is. There will be more training and support and resources around Ally, but we do have an accessibility resources page on our knowledge base that you can access for more information. Your students do not see the icon that shows how accessible your documents are. They only see the ability to download in different formats for their own accessibility needs. Finally, the work to do widget. This is a new widget that is available to students, and it displays what work needs to be done. It is important to note that this is based off of due dates and end dates set in your course. So if you do not set due dates or end dates in your course, students will not see that information here. The way students go to see this is on their homepage. Underneath the college announcements, they will see a new work to do widget. It will help them keep up to date with everything that is going on, but it is important for you to remind students that, especially if you don't set due dates or end dates in your course, that there's still work to be done, even if they don't see anything in the work to do widget. And that covers all of the new features for Brightspace Fall 2021. Check out our knowledge base, take advantage of drop-in sessions, and view past recorded trainings all on our Brightspace resources page at brightspaceresources.ccc.edu.